All right, getting ready for our final race of the day here for the Motorsport Reunion. It's Group 7B, a 1983 to 2016 Masters Endurance Legends. A little different than the races we've had earlier today because this is going to be a 40-minute race. And I believe there's going to be a mandatory pit stop in the middle of it all. But let's run down the grid as we've got it right now.
On the pole, number 42, Bill Oberlin in a 1999 BMW V12 LMR. Alongside in car number 30, Craig Bennett, 2012 Lola B12/80.
Spencer Trenery in a 2006 Riley 11 Daytona prototype. Travis Ingen in a 2005 Audi R8 LMP.
Third row, Mark Brannon from Paradise Valley, 2001 Riley Scott Mark IIIC, alongside Steven Zacchia in a 2000 Ferrari 550 GT1.
Mullen and Krass are scheduled to start the 1999 Panos LMP, and Thornton and Hoyt in the 1983 March 83G.
David Lockwood drives the 2013 Oreca FLM09. Then it's John Edwards in a 2001 BMW M3 GTR.
Lauren Beggs in a 2004 Porsche 996 RSR, and John McKenna is driving a 2005 Riley Daytona prototype.
2000 Chevrolet Corvette driven by Rob Morgan. Then it's Tony Garmy completing the role in a 2003 Chevrolet Corvette C5R.
Kovacek and Walker in the 2001 Porsche GT3, and John Cavanaugh in a 1996 Ford Mustang.
Scooter Gable drives a 1997 BMW M3. Christopher Frank alongside 2000 Porsche GT3R.
DeFilippi and Plasinski in a BMW M3 GT from 2011. Tom Dooley in a 1982 Mirage M12.
Les Whirling, 1991 Chevrolet Camaro. Roberts and Calfo in a 2013 Audi R8 Le Mans Ultra.
Hagan and Atkinson in the 2011 Oreca FLM09, and Merriman and Tilley in a 1991 NPT 90.
Our final row, Joyner and Long in a 2000 Lola B2K10, and George Crass in a 2003 Chevrolet. That's your starting field for Group 7B, 1983 to 2016 Masters Endurance Legends, as the cars pull onto the track to begin their pace lap.
Yeah, so once again, we've got that Bill Oberlin machine, that 1999 BMW V12 Le Mans racer that is up front. Craig Bennett in that 2012 Lola B1280, that's the LMP2 car that's right behind him. It's going to be an interesting field, especially when you look back. I mean, look at that number 27 car. We saw that in one of the races yesterday. That is actually built in 1982. We just saw a squirrel run across the track. You better get out of the way. But that was actually built in 1982, raced in 1983, and as a result, they were able to run it in this race from 1983. But when you look at the technology difference between a 2012 Lola B1280 and a 1982 Mirage M12, and it's a massive leap in terms of what the car is like.
Yeah, it's night and day. What a huge difference. But we've got some pretty potent cars up at the front. Bill Oberlin with that V12 BMW. That's a great car, and did a great job of driving it yesterday. Craig Bennett in that 2012 Lola is going to be very competitive as well. He's sharing that front row with Oberlin. Oberlin, the 42 car, Bennett in the 30 car. That's that black Lola with the green accent. Really beautiful graphics on that car. In fact, Spencer Trenery is out there. He did have some problems earlier with that 2006 Riley 11 Daytona with Travis Engen alongside him in the number 2 2005 Audi R8 LMP.
And to be eligible for this class, cars have to be raced and have to be entered in the 24 Hours of Le Mans in any period or any of its feeder series. Now, that's the FIA Sports Car Championship, IMSA, Sports Car World Racing International, Sports Racing Series, a whole series of racing series. So it's a pretty wide net that they cast in terms of the ability to bring cars into this. So Bill Oberlin in that number 42 is going to be exciting to watch as he comes around.
A pretty potent two front rows, and that great cars are all very fast. Looks like Trenery doing a bunch of tire scrubbing behind the BMW, trying to get some heat into that rubber. He's got that number 15 Riley Daytona prototype.
All right, time for the Masters Endurance Legends. Bill Auberlen is going to bring him around that final turn. It's going to be the BMW V12 LMR and a 2012 Lola V12 right beside him. And Bill Auberlen gets the hammer down right off the bat. As soon as he sees the green flag, shoots down into the Andretti hairpin with that Lola right behind him, tucking up underneath. And that Daytona prototype is in third right now.
Yeah, and it's the Audi R8 that's running in 4-spot. Travis Engen in the number 2 car, just the way they started. Whoa, and someone went,
Bill
oh, that was Auberlen in the BMW, the leader.
Lead car has gone off the track, not doing any significant damage that we can see. We're not sure why he went off, other than he might have simply been pressured by that number 30 Craig Bennett car. But boy, that's a break for Craig Bennett, because Bill Auberlen and that BMW was going to be pretty hard to get by as they went through the rest of the day. Now the battle is going to be for Bill Auberlen in that 1999 BMW V12 Le Mans racer to work his way up. And boy, it looks like he just kind of cooked it in just a little bit too much, which is kind of unusual right there, because you're just accelerating, coming out of that Andretti hairpin. And we've got now another problem, the number 38 car. That is a Nissan NPT 90 being driven by Merriman and Tilley. So they've got a bit of a problem. They go off as well. Not sure if there's any oil that may have been laid down. We've had a number of races happen earlier today where they had some engines go, and as a result, you see the oil drive that's been laid down on this track. And I think it's possible that that may have caused some of the problems. And boy, I got to think Bill Auberlen is steamed right now. There he was in the lead, goes off. He couldn't do any damage, so he can get back on and keep racing. But boy, he's not nearly as close as he would like to be up to that front pack. He's got to figure out a way to reel them in. He's got about, the full racing time is about 40 minutes. They'll have a stop in the center. But boy, he's got to figure out a way to pull these guys in. Boy, you see getting on the throttle, it actually gets a little twitchy as he comes out of the Andretti hairpin.
Yeah, he lost a lot of real estate when he went off the track. It looks like that it was the SunTrust car, Spencer Trenery, in the same shot. No. Yeah, it is. So basically, it looks to me like Auberlen is running in 4-spot, and Engen in the Audi has moved up to second. He's gotten around Spencer Trenery in that Daytona prototype.
Well, the good news for Auberlen is he didn't lose too many places. Once again, he's only back in 4th place. So he's within shouting distance. He's just got to figure out if he's got the speed to make it happen. But I think, assuming everything goes right with him from here on out, he should have both the speed and the time. Now, this Daytona prototype going up against that Audi, this is an interesting mix in terms of aerodynamics, because, I mean, you look at the aerodynamics, the upright look of that Riley that was built in 2006, and then you've got that 2005 Audi R8, which had a much more sophisticated aerodynamic package, and they're going to try to go after one another. Boy, Bill Auberlen is working really hard, coming around that last turn, turn number 11, going onto the front straightaway, lets the rear end kick out just a little bit. Like I say, I think he is seeing red and working hard to catch up to everybody ahead of him.
And he's catching up very, very quickly. He's got Spencer Trenery in his sights, who is the 3rd place car, and he's probably going to be on the bumper of Spencer Trenery in the next lap or two.
Yeah, this particular car, this BMW, built in 1999 and 2000, and it was actually part of a combo team. It was both BMW and Williams who worked together to create that car. So they built quite a nice car. And so now they're going to see if Bill Auberlen can manage to squeeze it past both the Riley and the Audi as they go up the hill. Meanwhile, we've got Craig Bennett in a 2012 Lola V1280 that is checked out. We don't even see him up ahead.
He's 6 seconds ahead of that battle for second between Engen, Trenery, and actually you could include Auberlen in it. It's a 3-car battle as Auberlen has caught up to Trenery in that SunTrust Daytona prototype.
And now we see back in the pack, there's some battles going on there as well. Remember, this is a full range of cars. We've got all kinds of equipment in this race as we see them going underneath. That's a Flying Lizard car, Flying Lizard Racing, of course, as he goes down through the corkscrew. Everyone trying really hard to see if they can't do their darndest to at least move forward. So we've got that car number 45 being driven by Beggs, a 2004 Porsche 996, in the 2003 Corvette by Garmy, and Rob Morgan in that 2000 Corvette right behind. But you also see the BMW that's worked his way in there, and that's the BMW M3 from 1997 being driven by Gable.
Good battles throughout this field. Bennett has now added a couple of more seconds to his lead. He is now 8.5 seconds ahead of Travis Engen, the second place car.
But Bill
Auberlen
he's moved into third place. He's gotten around the Daytona prototype. Now his job is to reel in that Audi, realizing the Audi's from 2005. It's a slightly more sophisticated car, but I have a feeling that this BMW is with Bill Auberlen at the wheel. And remember, Bill Auberlen is a professional race car driver, has been for decades. He's a BMW guy, a great BMW driver. He's won a lot of races, won championships, so he has the skill to manhandle this car and to wring more out of it than probably Engen does. Not to knock Engen, but Bill Auberlen is a professional race car driver.
You can see him visibly closing. Auberlen's got a lot more. He makes a bid going down into turn 11. He got around Engen on the outside as he exited turn 10 and has now taken the second spot and is in pursuit of Bennett in that number 30 Lola that is your race leader.
All right, now it's going to get interesting. And this is a car, we told the story about this one yesterday. This is number 27. This is a Mirage that was built, this is the oldest car in the field, built in 1982. It was actually built by Harley Cluxton Grand Touring Cars. And this was the car that both Michael Andretti and Mario Andretti were supposed to race together at Le Mans. They got all the way to Le Mans. They were literally on the grid, ready to race. And one of the inspectors came out and said, your oil cooler is in the wrong place. As a result, the car was disqualified on the grid, never able to race with Michael and Mario Andretti. And there we see the lead car. That's the car being driven by Bennett, that Lola 212, or the Lola B12, the 2012 version, just whipping right by. You can see the difference between speed and style and everything as the 1982 car gets passed by a car from 2012.
I remember that story about the Andretti's, that the oil cooler wasn't just in the wrong place. I think it was off by about 2 inches from where it was supposed to be.
Exactly.
Just some
but you would
minor infraction.
You would have thought they would have mentioned it a little bit earlier in the weekend to do that inspection on the grid when they were literally ready to get in the car and go racing. Just seemed like a criminal act almost.
Well, if they mentioned it earlier in the week, they wouldn't have been able to disqualify.
Exactly. And John Horseman, who had done such a great job putting that car together. John Wire, who wasn't a part of the team, but was giving some insight and advice. Boy, it was a great group of people, but unfortunately, they just weren't able to pull it off.
Well, last time by, Bennett had an 11.8 second lead over Auberlen. We'll have to wait and see what it is the next time they come by. Did it stretch more or did it shrink?
And the number 77 car that we're seeing right there, that's the Riley and Scott Mark III from 2001. Just squeezing inside is a Ferrari 550 GT1 going by. That's the number 86 car being driven by Zacchia. So he got the better of that prototype watching the GTO car make through. Now it's an 11.8 second lead between Bennett and Auberlen. Kosinski's in that 2011 BMW M3 GT right behind. Now remember, all these cars are cars that either were eligible to race at Le Mans or eligible for a feeder series that could have raced at Le Mans. So in other words, they may never have been entered in Le Mans, but if it was run, for example, in certain IMSA races that could have been a feeder to Le Mans, that makes it eligible for those cars to be in this series this year, this race.
Bennett has increased that lead by an additional 3 seconds. Now he's 14.3 seconds ahead of Auberlen. Bennett in the low safety car, double standing yellow. There goes that 14, 15 second lead. It is gonna disappear.
Yeah, I thought as we were going, it looked like on the other side of the track there was a car. I thought it was orange just off to the left side. I was curious if that was actually, there it is. It's the NPT car, the red and yellow car. The Momo car, that's that Nissan. Unfortunately, his day has come to an end, and it's in a place where they decide that they need to make sure that they get that car out of the way because it's a safety problem. But the great thing is that means we're going to get a wonderful restart between Craig Bennett in that Lola from 2012, the B1280, also with Bill Auberlen in that 1999 BMW V12. Those two are going to be Well, they're going to be nose to tail. Instead of having a 14-second gap, they're going to be right on each other. And Bill Auberlen, I think he knows that he had a problem. You know, very likely a result of oil on the track, and I'm going to assume Bill Auberlen doesn't routinely make that kind of mistakes. And like I said, we saw some oil and oil dry that have been dropped on the track as a result of earlier races. So I'm just going to assume that that's probably what caused the problem.
Looked like the pace car was waving everyone around, waiting for Bennett to come up behind him so he can pull in ahead of Bennett and then control the field from there. He will pick up the race leader.
Yeah, a couple of safety cars out there. They've got to get that Nissan, the number 38, off the track. That's a 1991 Nissan NPT 90 that is on the track in those Momo colors.
You can see Bennett behind that BMW. I think he's just thinking, God, I got to get around this guy.
Well,
but he can't.
I was going to say, it's not a passing for position, but still, the sooner he gets up there, the sooner he can see the pace car. The nice thing for the BMW is once the pace car picks up the Lola, well, then he'll likely get a chance to do a wave around and catch up, at least be one less lap behind.
Looks like they got the Nissan rolling. It'll probably coast down from the corkscrew of the paddock.
Yeah, he was at the top of the corkscrew, which was, I think he was just before the corkscrew where he had his problem. Now he seems to be able to work his way down. So the question is, where is the pace car? I got to think the pace car wants to pick this guy up, but they came out on track in such a location that he doesn't know where to find him. There, he's finally just up ahead. So the pace car slows down just a little bit and then lets the BMW go by. Then it's a matter of trying to pack things up. So here's the question: if that Nissan is completely off, are they going to give him another lap to pack everything up, or are they going to let him go green pretty early?
I think they let him go green. We'll see in another lap or so.
And see, the problem with Bill Auberlen is he's kind of trapped behind some slower cars that haven't been able to catch up. So we don't know exactly how far back he is. Let's see as he goes around. Well, once again, they're going a lot slower, but still, from a distance perspective, I think he's still a long way back.
Last time I looked, it was something like 28 seconds.
Yeah, but it's 28 seconds at a slower speed, so it's kind of hard to tell. But still, it's a long distance. Now it's 35 seconds back. So the good news is the number 30 car has caught up to the pace car. So the pace car now has that, and I'm sure the pace car is going to slow things down just a bit. Try to bunch up the field. But it's right now, Craig Bennett is in the lead in that Lola B1280. Bill Auberlen in that 1999 BMW. And we got another car that's had a problem.
That's the Panos.
Yeah, that's the Panos that we saw do have such a great race yesterday, but for whatever reason, they've got a problem. They're looking at it, trying to figure it out. But I get the feeling he's taken off his gloves, and his day has likely come to an end.
It's going to be Crass in the 21 car, 1999 Panos LMP.
Boy, it's this is like the two loners up there. You got the pace car, you got the number 30 car, and then you can't see anybody else behind them. I'm surprised they're not really slowing this down completely. There, we finally see the number 93 car. That's a back marker. That's one being driven by Frank, a 2000 Porsche GT3R. But they don't have much of a field behind him at this point.
Well, even though Auberlen is second, he's got a lot of lapped cars in front of him. And because they're under the double standing yellow, he cannot pass them.
But now things are finally closed in. So, okay, so we've got the number 30 car. And while Auberlen might not be right behind him, he only has two cars. And in fact, they're letting him go around. We're getting a green flag, and we are racing here at Laguna Seca. As he comes up, takes the green flag. Bennett is now powering his way. Bill Auberlen has quickly gotten around the two back markers that were in between. It's just about a 2-second lead for Bennett over Auberlen, and Auberlen's goal now is to make sure that he can reel him in. He's going to work really hard. Remember, this is where he went off during that first lap. It became a problem for him and moved him back, but he worked hard to get back up into position, and now he just has to figure out how to gain those last 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds between him and Craig Bennett in that Lola.
Boy, he took that BMW right to the edge of the pavement, almost to the dirt, over in turn two, using all of the track to get as much speed as he can out of that car. Using all of it, he can see Bennett ahead of him as Bennett crests the hill just out of his sight as they go up through turn 6. and now up the Rahal Straight as they head toward the corkscrew and that famous 5-story descent down here at Laguna Seca.
Bill Auberlen works his line, tries to work the corkscrew the best he can. He's got to figure out how to accelerate it and make it smooth as possible so he can gain as much time as he possibly can on that car. Now, when we look at lap times, so far, Bennett has the fastest lap. He's got a 122.7, where Bill Auberlen, his fastest lap so far, was a 124. So the question is, does Auberlen ultimately have the ultimate speed? It was a 2.5-second gap the last time they came around when he went in by the start-finish line. Let's see what the gap is this time. It's actually stretched out. It's stretched out to 5.8 seconds. So Bill Auberlen actually lost some time on that lap in terms of space between himself and that lead car.
And I think it was based on lap times. It wasn't a traffic situation because I don't think either of them encountered any traffic on that last lap. It's just that Bennett is just a little bit quicker and will continue to open things up.
Well, and once again, remember that Bennett car is a 2012 Lola B1280, whereas the Auberlen car is a 1999 BMW. Now, this is the battle for third on the track right now. This is Spencer Trennery in that Riley 11 Daytona. And look at that car, the number 18 car. That's the one that's going right beside him. That is a Lola B2K10.
That's the Joyner Long car. He's gotten around Trennery and moved himself up into third spot.
All right, remember we said that all these cars have to do a mandatory pit stop, and the Audi has come in to give that pit stop right now. So it's a mandatory pit stop. It's a timed pit stop. So they're taking their time, and they get the opportunity to work on the car, but there's no refueling necessary. But they will check tire pressures and make sure that everything is okay with the car. If there's any work that does have to be done, that's their opportunity. Meanwhile, the number 18 car has managed to get past the Trennery car, and it's trying to take off after Bill Auberlen to see if he can't sort of shorten that distance just a little bit. By the way, the gap between the leader, Craig Bennett, and Bill Auberlen has now reduced very slightly, about half a second. It was about 8.5 seconds. Now it's a shade under 8 seconds, 7.9 seconds. So he is gaining.
The man that's gaining is Long in that Lola B2K10 car 18. Started back in 25th spot, and he is now running in second.
Yeah, I think they had a problem. They had a problem in the earlier race, and as a result, they've. This is what they've done. Actually, they didn't have the earlier race with this. He was in another car in an earlier race, kind of problem. Must have just not qualified well for this race.
Now that Long has gotten by Trennery, he's starting to open up the gap and stretch it out to over a second. It's going to be 2 seconds before you know it. Running in fifth spot is the number 88 car of Thornton Point. That's that March 83G 1983 model.
All right, looking at the battle right now. This is the battle on the track that we see between Frank and Kras. This is the battle for 16th and 17th. Frank driving that 2000 Porsche GT3R, Kras driving the 2003 Corvette. Very different cars. They have a completely different way of attacking the issue of how do you go fast. You've got a rear engine car in the Porsche 911 just ahead of it, and then you've got a front engine, big American block, horsepower creature in the Corvette, and yet they're nose to tail on the track.
Bennett increased his lead again. Now it's up to 10.5 seconds over Auberlen.
Yeah, not sure why it's shortened up, but I think at the end of the day, I think the Lola is probably just a faster race car on the track, because you look at the times. I mean, that time, Bennett was able to pull a lap time of 122.8, and Auberlen's lap time was a 125. Auberlen's best lap has only been a 124, so I think that at the end of the day, the Lola is just a better car.
That BMW in 56 is flashing his lights at the car in front of him. Let him know he's there. Make way, I want to come through.
Well, you got to earn the position. That number 77 car, I don't think is particularly anxious to let him go by.
That's Mark Brannon in the 2001 Riley Scott Mark 3C.
And the BMW weaved out for just a moment as if he was trying to say, hey, I'm back here, but he didn't see any room to go by. Let's see if he can get any advantage. But I think in the corkscrew, this sports racer is going to have an advantage. That the number 77 cars, they've got a bit of an advantage as they go through the corkscrew. But look at the BMW trying to come through on the inside, and now the leader has made the pit stop. Craig Bennett has brought that 2012 Lola into the pits, and there, look at that. The BMW has made it past, and guess what? Time for that number 77 to come in and do his pit stop. Very appropriate timing. So once again, Bill Auberlen is now in the lead for this race. However, it's only by virtue of the pit stops, assuming that there's no problem in the pit stop, because once again, you come in, you make that pit stop, you never know whether something's going to refire properly or there's going to be an issue, but assuming it goes out properly, then Craig Bennett is going to go back out, and then Bill Auberlen is going to be responsible for coming in for his pit stop.
So it's an offset. They both have pit stops, and their time pit stops. The cars will be stationary for the same amount of time. Just pit in and pit out and get back to it. We won't be able to tell what the gap is going to be between these two until they have both completed their pit stops. But Auberlen, in the meantime, has a 36-second lead over the now current second-place car on track, which is the number 56 of Plasinski. That's the 2011 BMW M3 GT. That's the one that was battling with that Daytona prototype sports racer before the Daytona prototype ducked into the pits.
You know, this particular car had a great racing history. I mean, BMW had some problems in 1998, which is why it got together with Williams to create a better car in 1999. And in fact, the car that they built did a great job. This BMW V12 LMR went to the 12 hours of Sebring and immediately did well, qualified on the pole, and ultimately took the overall victory. Then from there, they went on to Europe to prepare for the 24 hours of Le Mans. The initial test session, they had 3 of those cars, and they ran relatively well. Only 2 of the cars appeared in the art car, dropping out from the lineup. But once again, now in this race, Bill Auberlen in the lead. He's got a 41-second lead over second place, but the big question is going to be, how much is the lead going to be once he comes in and makes his pit stop? There's that Mirage just ahead from 1982. Bill Auberlen whipping by. Much more modern piece of machinery, although you think about it, 1982, that's only 17 years difference. But boy, I tell you what, in terms of technology and racing machinery, that is a massive leap forward. And the Audi that you see behind it, that is the car that was already come in and made its pit stop.
Travis Engen, and he's currently shown in, I think, about 17th place.
Yeah, at this point, it's hard to tell for us who's made pit stops and who's hasn't. We don't have a complete grid to show, or complete timing and scoring to be able to show who's done well and who has made their pit stop. But we do know that Bill Auberlen's in the lead but has not made his pit stop. We know Craig Bennett was in the lead but made his pit stop. We do know that that Audi that we just saw a few moments ago had already made its pit stop. In fact, he was one of the first cars to make his pit stop. That BMW right there, good for 580 horsepower. And when they were on the Mulsanne Straight, this car was capable of 214 miles an hour.
Auberlen has the track all to himself. No one in front for him to contend with and no one behind.
But he's coming in for his mandatory pit stop. Remember, they all have to make one pit stop, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Okay, now we're going to see where Craig Bennett, we know he has the lead. The question is how big of a lead and whether it's going to be the same it was before. Bill Auberlen was on his own. He was running laps, but still he was only running laps in the 125 and a half range. So I don't think he was going to be able to, build up any kind of a lead. And obviously this car was able to get refired and back out on the track, so there were no problems, no issues there.
Yeah, Bennett has rejoined, is now shown running in 4th place behind Lockwood, Plasinski, and Auberlen. But that's going to change pretty quickly, as we know Auberlen is stationary in the pits. Leisurely checking tire pressures on Auberlen's BMW as he sits in the car. He's got to be just dying to get back out there.
Well, the frustrating thing is that, you know, I think he's realized that his car just is not as fast as this Lola is. So as a result, you want to get out there, you want to have, but at this point, I think for Bill Auberlen, it's go out, have some fun, do the best you can, make sure you know, do well by the team because they've given you the car to do a great job in. You know, you may not be able to get the victory unless something goes wrong up front. Meanwhile, look at this battle. It's still been going on between the number 18 car and the number 15 car. The long in that car, the number 18, the Lola B2K10 from 2000, and Trenery in the number 15 car. That's a 2006 Riley 11 Daytona prototype. He looks to the inside. He starts to lock him up just a little bit. Can't quite get fully beside him, and the number 18 car, there you see it going. The Lola just managed to keep the lead as they go through the Andretti hairpin.
That's the battle for 4th and 5th. Long is currently 4th in that number 18 Lola, Trenery 5th in the number 15 Daytona prototype, the SunTrust car.
Yeah, we're showing as the top 5. We've got Auberlen, Bennett, Crass, Long, and Trenery. I think Crass in the number 50 car, the Chevrolet Corvette, I think he's the only guy that has yet to pit, and as a result, in that top group. So I think what we're going to see is once things begin to shake out, it's going to be Bennett, Auberlen, Long, Trenery, and Engen, because they've all made their pit stops. And there the Daytona prototype looks to the inside a little bit, but can't quite figure out if he's got enough room. So he tucks back and figures, I'll follow him down this time.
Bennett has taken the lead over Auberlen. That's Auberlen's pit stop, and now that battle between Trenery and the number 18 car is terrific. Long trying to hold him off and has done it so far, but Trenery's been very aggressive. He's pulled up alongside him on 2 or 3 different occasions in different parts of the track, and Auberlen is back out and running again. Looks like he came out in 2nd place. We'll wait for our timing monitor update. Long still holding off the challenges of Trenery. Long in that Lola, Trenery in the Daytona prototype. Coming through the infield now.
And once again, when you look at the aerodynamics of those cars, very different. I mean, you know, the Daytona prototypes had a high glass area, and it was actually designed to be an aerodynamic drag. The concept when they first brought those cars out was that was one of the ways they were going to help keep them from attaining too much top speed. Of course, over time, the cars got a little more sophisticated, and they got a little lower, and a little sleeker, but it was kind of like a big shoebox out there, whereas that car ahead of it is a much sleeker look. However, it is a convertible, call it that, an open top racer, and so it is not as clean aerodynamically as a coupe might be.
Boy, those two are having a great race. Just look at this battle between the Trenery and the Daytona prototype, car number 15, and Long in the number 18 Lola. Pretty much nose to tail all the way around the track. Trenery applying the pressure, Long not folding under it at all, and maintaining a solid 3rd place. Auberlen about 12 seconds behind Bennett now. Bennett is your race leader in that number 30 Lola. Auberlen, the BMW V12 R42. And there goes
Daytona prototype, goes to the inside, tries to outbrake him, and this time he gets him and forces the number 18 out to the little side. Now the number 18 tries to take it back, but clips the curb, causing the rear end to kick back out, losing him some time. So the Daytona prototype manages to get ahead. Trenery gets the position, and he's now in 3rd place.
Trenery's driving the wheels off that car, and he's been good all weekend long, doing some very aggressive driving, and he's got the finishing positions to show for it.
Now the question is you got Engen in that 2005 Audi R8 LMP coming up right behind him. Can he take advantage of any of the, well, it cost them some time when they're doing that battle, and did that help him out? And does he have anything to gain on these guys? Trenery's fastest lap has been a 127.9, while Long's fastest lap has been a 127.8.
And Engen's at 125 in that Audi number 2, so he should be closing on them and should be able to catch both and pass both, sliding in behind Auberlen up to the 3rd spot.
So this is going to be the battle to watch for a while, as that Audi tries to come back up, and right now he's sitting in 5th. But lap time wise, it looks like he's a faster car and should be able to take on Trenery and Long. It's just a matter of when and how. And right now on this front straightaway, he's already gobbling up that number 18 car, whips past him, takes the inside line, and he's going to take the position as they go by the start-finish line now into the Andretti hairpin. Next stop for him is going to be that Daytona prototype being driven by Trenery.
So Engen now up to fourth. Long drops to fifth in the 18 car. And Engen in pursuit of that Daytona prototype. He's not that far ahead of them. There's a couple of cars in between them. Engen should dispose of them in short order and get in the pursuit of that Daytona prototype. Gets by the one, and now there's nothing between him and the SunTrust Daytona of Spencer Trenery, car 15.
Let's watch and see how quickly he can potentially reel him in. By the way, the gap between Bennett and Oberlin has been a pretty consistent 14 seconds. It was down to 12 at one point, now back up to 14. So I have a feeling that's probably not going to change an awful lot as time goes along during this race.
My best guess is that we're about 3/4 of the way through this 40-minute race, maybe about 10 minutes to go. The leaders have completed 19 laps.
Yeah, compared to the 20-minute sprint races that we've seen today, this is an endurance race, complete with a pit stop right in the middle. This is the number 53 Corvette being driven by Garmy. It's a 2003, and the battle behind him. You can see that right there, the number 93 car, the number 45 car, that number 45 car being driven by Beggs. So the number 93 car is he's actually being shown a lap down to this battle, so I think he's a back marker that they're working their way around. There's our leader, Craig Bennett. 2012 Lola B12, 80 on the front straightaway. That last lap was pretty fast. He did a 123.3. His fastest lap today was a 121. There, he just got a little smoke out of the back. Looked like he might have locked up very slightly going in because he had a pretty quick lap turning. His fastest lap so far today is a 121.9. So he's still about a second and a quarter off of his fastest lap time.
And it's up to 16 seconds now. He picked up a couple of more seconds on Bill Oberlin in the BMW as he starts to stretch his lead.
Well, that's what you see. He had a 123.3 lap time versus Oberlin's 125.2. So, you know, a significant, almost 2 full seconds faster a lap. Well, he's got this car working just right. He doesn't even have to worry too much about anybody behind him. He hasn't had too much traffic ahead of him. So he can just kind of run the race he wants. And when he wants to turn a fast lap, turn it as fast as he wants.
Look at that battle between Engen and Trenery. They should be hard at it. I would assume that Engen has gotten by Trenery. We'll have to look for that and see when we get that camera angle.
Is that the Flying Lizard car that he's coming up right behind? No, I thought it was.
No.
I just saw it cropped up. That's a Ferrari. That's Ferrari that's just ahead of the Ferrari 550 GT1. That means he is lapping the 7th place car that's on the track.
It's actually just about where he started. I think he started in 6th place. He's dropped 1 spot. He's down into 7th.
And then just ahead of him is the number 77 car. That's the Riley and Scott Mark III. That's from 2001, being driven by Brannon, and that is 6th. So these 2 cars are in position. We just saw the Bennett car. That just went past the Ferrari 550, and now he's got his sights on that number 77 Riley and Scott car.
Look at how much bigger that Ferrari is than some of these other cars that are out there. Yeah, Bennett will probably eat up that Riley Scott going up the hill up toward turn 6.
Great view of all these cars as they come up. Once again, there's the Flying Lizard car. There's the Mirage as it goes down. Goes into the Andretti hairpin. And that is the number 15 car.
It's Trenery.
And he's about to lap these guys, and I think he's wanted to do it as quickly as possible, so he kind of locked it up just a fraction, but that's because he's got that number 2 car that's trying to catch him. So I think his goal was to make sure that he got past the back markers so he didn't get held up by him. And now that's exactly what's happened with the number 2 car. The Mirage pushes him off, didn't see him. The number 2 car had to go into the inside, got onto the dirt. Fortunately, it didn't look like there was a problem, but I don't think the Mirage ever saw him.
I think Engen has made his pit stop. I don't think Trenery has.
Well, this late in the race, I have a feeling they've all made their pit stops, because it looks like I think if Trenery had not made a pit stop, he'd still have it. He'd almost be in first place. So I'm going to guess that they've all made their pit stops at this point. That number 50 car, that's actually back in 16th place. He's just a lap back marker, but boy, he's complicating life for that number 2 car, and that's exactly what Trenery wanted to have happen. He wanted to get ahead of these guys so that when this guy, the number 2 car, caught up to them, that they'd have a problem with traffic.
Yeah, Engen got bottled up in the corkscrew by those 2 cars, and that cost him quite a bit of time. He's shown about 2 seconds behind Trenery. We'll wait for it to update. In the meantime, Bennett continues to pad his lead over Oberlin, the 2nd place car. About 7 seconds between Trenery and Engen, according to the timing monitor. Those are the 2 cars that are battling for 3rd. Trenery is 3rd in the 15 Daytona prototype. Engen in the Audi R8 LMP car, number 2, is in 4th.
There's Bill Oberlin driving around in a BMW V12. BMW V12 that was built in 1999, had a great racing history in 1999, did well, won his first race out, won at Le Mans, had plenty of power, but once again today just doesn't seem to have enough to take on that 2012 Lola B12E. And this is the car being driven by Engen, the number 2 Audi, whipping past that number 45 of the Flying Lizard car. And that Flying Lizard car really has a great record on its own. You know, it raced from 2004 to 2006 and had 18 podiums, 2 wins in the GT class with the American Le Mans Series, being raced by the Flying Lizard team. That's the car we're talking about, the number 45, going back out onto the front straightaway.
Currently shown as 11th overall. Lauren Beggs in that car, 2004 Porsche 996 RSR.
15-year-old car, but boy, it sure doesn't look it. You know, you look at that car, mainly because Porsche styling hasn't changed that dramatically, and they've done such a great job of you know, the way they took the work on those cars a long time ago. All right, we understand we've got 1 lap to go here in the Masters Endurance Series, and Craig Bennett in the 2012 Lola B1280 has everything in command. What he has to be careful of here is as he goes through these back markers that he doesn't get caught up in any problems. So far, he's been flawless on the day, has not had a single problem. He started in 2nd. Bill Oberlin was in the lead. Bill Oberlin had a problem on that first lap, and then Craig Bennett after that has had no problems. The only time Craig Bennett didn't lead was when he had to come in for his mandatory pit stop, handed the lead briefly over to Bill Oberlin, and then from that point on, he has had no problems whatsoever. His fastest lap on the day, a 1:21.918. So he is easily the fastest car on the track today.
And Bennett on his way to the top of the hill. Once he gets there, he'll begin his descent through the corkscrew, back down to start finish, and a checkered flag.
Oberlin's in 2nd right now. Spencer Trenery is the number 15 car, that 2006 Riley Daytona prototype. Is likely going to be finishing 3rd. So this is it. As he comes down, he's come down through the corkscrew. He enters turn 11. He's going to power his way up through the start-finish line. The checkered flag is out, and Craig Bennett is going to win the Masters Endurance Legends race here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, part of the Rolex Monterey Motorsports reunion. 2nd place, Bill Oberlin. Sure, he would like to have won, but I think at the end of the day, the car just wasn't there. He was able to make up for his mistake, but just not enough to be able to pull that car and do better in that car, because I think that was the limits of that car from that year.
Got to look at that Trenery-Engen battle. That's the one for 3rd. Trenery still in 3rd in that 15 car. Engen in pursuit. but I think he's too far back to do anything about it.
Yeah, the number 15 car following somebody down through the corkscrew. That's the number 88 car of Hoyt. That's a 1983 March 83G. And once again, it's fun to look at how the styles, design, auto aerodynamics change from year to year. But that Daytona prototype following him down, and I think he sees that at this point there's no sense in even trying to pass him. Just take your time, get through the last turn, get across the finish line, finish third, make sure you've got yourself a podium at this Masters Endurance Legends race here at Laguna Seca.
Connery takes the checker for a third spot in that number 15 SunTrust Daytona prototype.